Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachach, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations. To those for like tabernacle of David scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Now, this incident that happened here in Vegas, you had a Jake who he had some intruders in his home, and he decided to call the authorities, to come to his home, to get rid of the intruders. Only for them to show up and kill him. Right? So, this is definitely, the story is gaining traction all over the place because, and this was definitely insane, but it just goes to show, all right, that dynamic of, Esau hating Jacob, that hostility between, both nations, it'll never stop. And this is just more blood, that's tallying up on Esau's tab. All right. This man, he spilled the blood of Israel, since we've been brought over here. So this place got so much blood on it. This is why the Lord's going to, fire roast this place. And then in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to be able to, get our vengeance, because, this happens and, people for a split second, they'll be outraged for a minute. They'll be a little angry, but then, life goes on after that, back to your regularly scheduled program. Another Jake disposed of his life. Although, the scriptures do say, nobody perishes being innocent. So we don't know what this Jake's sin was for him to receive this judgment. But, nevertheless, Esau, he's, especially now that Nero's back in, a lot of these Edomites, they're feeling themselves again. They're very emboldened right now. So, expect this kind of behavior to continue on, plus, Trump, he's promising full immunity of law enforcement. So, this devil that pulled the trigger here, I'm sure he felt very emboldened. He felt free. Like if I shoot a nigga now, more than likely, what's the worst that can happen? Paid leave, a manslaughter charge. They probably not going to get him for murder. But this is clear murder right on camera. The man was in his own home, and you pulled the trigger on this man. Shot him 6 times, by the way. And he's holding an intruder hostage in his home for you to come deal with him. So let's play this little clip, and then we'll get some scriptures. And this was no accident, by the way.
Tara, Metro Police are giving a closer look at an officer-involved shooting that left a homeowner dead earlier this week. That man's family says he was wrongfully shot and killed by police. We want to warn you, some of the video you're about to watch may be disturbing. Our Georgia Costa reports.
Oh, they showed it clear. I thought they was going to blur some of this out. So this news footage here, News 3 Las Vegas, they show it a clear cut, of the actual shooting. This man actually called them. All right, I have some intruders in my home. And they show up, they kick the door in, show up, and they see him with no shirt on. And they see the actual intruder with a damn hoodie and mask on. And who do they shoot instead? Yeah, shoot Jake. And then he shoots him 5 more times. That's OD. So he did that purposely. He did that with full intent. And so now this story is everywhere. This is like clearly intentional, and you do it right on your camera. So yeah, man. And I'm pretty sure that YouTube is gonna probably age restrict, this lesson, now that, this is actually what's shown. But I don't do this for the underage anyway. But this was graphic, man. This happened I think last Tuesday, and this is is gaining coverage. But this is what Jake been going through, since we've been here, man. Let me get a scripture. Let's go to Blue Letter. And let's go to real quick. Let's go to Deuteronomy and the curse. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 15. It says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." All right? So wherever we go, the curse will follow us, right? If we were disobedient. And let's jump down real quick. And here's the point. The life of a Jake, man, your life is disposable. They treat you like you're non-human. These devils still believe that. Deuteronomy 28 and 65, it says, "Among these nations shalt thou find no ease." Right? It's not going to be easy at all. "Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and a felling of eyes, and a sorrow of mind," as depression, "and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee." So it's like, if you a Jake, and law enforcement is supposed to be to protect and serve, and that's where your tax-paying money is going. You're paying them through your taxes, so they're supposed to be utilized for protection and service. But as a Jake, you got to expect shit can actually go south if you notify them. You're not even sure if you'll be living after you make that call, because they might come and take you out, even if you're the victim. Life of Jake on this side. So you see this punishment. I don't see how these other nations will be built to be able to take what we've taken as a nation. Like it tells you in was that Daniel, the 9th chapter. The evil that has been done upon Jerusalem. Let's see if I can find that. But this man, he got so much hell to pay. It's just like that tally up on that tab of blood of the children of Israel from the southern to the northern kingdom. He got so much to pay for it, man. And it makes perfect sense why Obadiah verse 18 has to happen. Okay. Daniel 9 and 12, it says, "And he have confirmed his words which spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem." And Jerusalem represents our people. All right, starting with Judah. So it says that thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. Okay. Let me see what that say in the NLT. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 and 65 again. It says, "There among those nations you will find no peace or place to rest." So there's definitely no peace among us. And the Lord will cause your heart to tremble, your eyesight to fail, and your soul to despair. Your life will constantly hang in the balance. You will live night and day in fear, unsure if you will survive. And that's Jake all the way, man. Like Pac said, I see death around the corner. You know, and that nigga got death a year after he made that damn song. So, you know, you never know. All right. But, you know, this was the punishment of the sword. So he was, the Jake that happened to was judged. But you can clearly see how hard bent Esau is when it comes to that sword. And him getting that vengeance, man. Esau really hates you. He hates your existence. And we're going to see how Trump handled this. You know? Yeah. I think this savior then came back to restore the country. But this is the energy that these patriotic, proud Edomites, you know, that's the energy that they are feeling. We're going to restore this feeling right here. You know, sending out texts about slavery and all this stuff. You got these Nazis coming back out with their little swastika flags, walking in broad daylight. All this behavior, all of a sudden, now that Trump is back in. We're going to see, man. Anyway, let's finish this news segment, and then we'll get some more scriptures.
Put your hands up! 2 days out.
Then he tells him, after he shoots him 6 times, the first shot in the freaking head, put your hands up. You can't make this up. That's very absurd. You kill the man and then tell him to put his hands up. What was going through that dude's head? You know what was going through his head. He just killed a subhuman. You just shot down a nigga. That was overkill. In cold blood in his own home. So that's why we always tell you, Jakes out there, in which the scriptures tell you, agree with thine adversary quickly. And it was not that this Jake acted poorly or you know, he didn't follow instruction, because obviously he was the victim. So nobody was expecting him to be taken out. But when you dealing with these law enforcement, the scriptures say to make no fault. Let me get that. You can't act emotionally. You can't give them a reason to want to take it there. And even sometimes when you cooperate, it don't even matter, especially with E. He will find a reason very fast, man. Sirach 9:13, it says, keep thee far from the man that have power to kill, so shalt thou not fear, shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. And the Jake, he really didn't make any fault. All he did was have the intruder, you know, pinned up. All right, basically held him because the individual had a knife. The person had on a hoodie, a mask, and had a knife, and he kept him at bay until law enforcement shows up. And you're gonna pull up and shoot the like, what are you doing? But we know exactly what he was doing. He needed a body on his belt. He needed to kill what was that scene in Higher Learning? You had what was that actor? He played the leader of the white supremacists at the campus. He was played by Cole Hauser, I believe was his name. He was you know, he was telling Remy, have you ever killed a nigger? Right? And it was after they had that fight. You know, they got their ass whooped, and he asked him, you know, have you ever killed one? And he didn't answer that question, but he said, I have. So a lot of them white supremacists, just like the street gangs, you got to put in that work. You know, you want to be a part of the set and you want to have some credibility, you got to put in work. Well, you got a lot of white supremacists that join forces, and that's where they put in their work. So it doesn't matter if you cooperate or not. In his eyes, he don't like you. You're an op. And he figured because he has that badge, he's part of the brotherhood, he has that authority. He has that power to take your life. Because you seen Edomites, you know, they'll get into a shootout with the law enforcement and still be taken alive. But let Jake just, you know, he trying to hold an intruder in his home, you know, hostage for the law enforcement to pick him up, and they show up and blast his noodles out in cold blood. It says, and if thou come unto him, make no fault lest he take away thy life. Presently remember that thou goest in the midst of snares. You gotta pretty much, especially if you are Israelite, a Jake, you gotta walk on eggshells. All right, you gotta, you know, soften your voice up. You know, you gotta cooperate. You know, pose no kind of threat whatsoever, man. Don't put your hands in your pocket. Don't sneeze. And that's why, you know, Jake lived the way they live, man. They shall have no assurance of thy life. You know, your life shall hang in doubt. It says, in that thou walkest upon about him into the city. You know. So this was unfortunate, but it's all right though. Because, you know, he saw his day is coming. His world is getting ready to end anyway. All right, it's, the world is separating themselves from them small hats, you know. And then, of course, America being behind them. And part of the reason why the world is fed up, you know, these Babylon and Amalek, you know, they're going to have their backs eventually against the wall together. You know, the world is getting sick and tired of Esau, man. But anyway, let's finish out.
After 43-year-old Brandon Durham was shot and killed by Las Vegas Metro Police Officer Alexandra Bookman, Durham's family has been left to pick up the pieces as they try to make sense of a tragedy they say could have been prevented.
He was the victim. And I am disgusted that the Metropolitan Police will allow me to live fatherless for the rest of my life.
In a Thursday afternoon briefing, Las Vegas Metro Police released a minute-long video showing officers arriving to Durham's home early Tuesday morning after police were dispatched in response to reports of a shooting.
Durham told the call taker that the subjects were attempting to enter his residence and that he was inside his residence with his 15-year-old daughter.
Once on scene, officers witnessed several vehicles along with the windows of the home had been damaged, and after hearing banging and screaming coming from inside the home, officers quickly jumped into action.
Kick it!
Metro investigators say Officer Bookman was one of the first to arrive on scene, where he encountered two subjects, Durham and the second person identified as Bedreau, struggling over a knife.
Hey! Hands off the knife!
After seeing the video, Durham's family says Officer Bookman didn't give him a chance, saying police treated him as if he were the aggressor.
My father was the absolute victim, no matter what could have happened. The violence that occurred here was under someone who was extremely angry and extremely violent.
And the most frustrating part about all of this is it's very difficult for you to even watch. The man that is clearly in his home, minding his own business, trying to call for assistance, you shoot him instead of the one that's in a red hoodie and a ski mask.
And while still under investigation, Metro Police Assistant Sheriff Dory Corin calls the situation at hand a challenging one.
That's very important for all of us to understand, because we have the luxury, but our officers, unfortunately, have a very challenging job that during these types of incidents,
And of course, that's the excuse. You know, well, they usually go through these type of incidences and, you know, they be nervous and, you know, they're human and this and that. Well, it's a reason why you put them through training, homie. You put them through the amount of training needed before they go on these type of assignments. You don't just put somebody who's easily scared, all right, who's not going to make the right judgments. You don't put them in there for that, man. But of course, they gotta save face, for their fellow officer. And those type of officers make them all look bad, because there's a few good ones out there, that have some type of integrity, but they get overshadowed by all the crooked law enforcement. This is why they get a bad rep. So they don't feel no damn remorse. It's just another day at the office, man. Especially it happening to another Jake. Because they wouldn't stand for this if it happened to one of their own. Every now and then, to pacify niggas, they'll prosecute the officer, like the one that had his knee on George Floyd's neck. Jake celebrated that. But how often do these officers get, fully, indicted and get the fullest extent of their judgment? They usually don't happen. But let me get this real quick. Because if justice isn't met for it, now, matter of fact, what is the judgment for murder? This is Numbers. Let me see. This is Numbers 35 and 16. This is the law on, refugees after they, may have mistakenly killed someone, or, whatever the, because in order for it to be murder, that means it has to be premeditated, right? You have to basically know, you knowingly, you knew you was gonna basically put someone out, and you had no just cause for it. All right, and in this case, it wasn't just cause, because the man was the one who notified them, and he was in his own home. He was actually legally in his right. If he wanted to, if he had a firearm, he would have been legally in the right to actually put them demons, out of their misery. All right, he could have, put their ass out on his property, and then had the law enforcement come get him. But he, instead he held them, at bay, at least long enough for them to pull up, and they come in there and they shoot him up. So this is the law. It says Numbers 35 and 16. It says, and if he smite him with an instrument of iron, back then, instrument of war, a weapon, was crafted by, those swordsmiths or a smith, and they would craft iron into like a sharp weapon, like a spear, or basically like a pointing instrument, that can pierce you. Okay, well, now you got you got the steel that you can actually pull with your index finger, and gunfire releases. So that's the modern day instrument of iron. All right, your gun. All right, it says, so that he died, he is a murderer. So that Edomite that pulled the trigger, you shot him in the head. So you didn't even try to shoot to neutralize the guy. You shot him right in the freaking temple, and then you shot him 5 more times after he was already gone, and said, "Put your hands up." That guy was a straight up psychopath, man. The murderer shall be put to death. So that's the real judgment for that officer. But we know that kind of justice ain't going to happen. See, Trump, he's talking about he wants to bring back the firing squad. He's promising that he's going to bring federal execution to traffickers, drug traffickers, human traffickers, these different, criminals that's in the country. Well, does that apply to men that's going to be in law enforcement that commit murder too? Will you bring the death penalty for these officers that slay people without just cause? Like this guy. I guarantee you, this guy go to trial and he gets some, silly little judgment. People gonna lose it again. Like always. They bring it to the court, this go to trial, and this man somehow, he gets a slap on the wrist. Here we go again. And everybody's seen it on camera. And I just have a feeling that it's more than likely going to go that way, especially with Trump giving them that immunity. It says, and if he smite him with throwing a stone wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if he smite him with a hand weapon of wood wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. The revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him. And the Lord can put a spirit on an angry Jake or somebody in his family that, that's why they, when these officers do this, and it's almost like a ritual killing for them, right? When an officer does that, you know what they do? Not only do they give him a paid leave, but they move him up out of the neighborhood. Because Jake, they'll be then found where this devil lives, so they'll move the officer and his family up out of the neighborhood so that Jake don't catch him slipping. But if they was to catch him, it would be a just killing. Because it's blood for blood. But because we live in this wicked society where Esau, he gets the immunity, all right? Jake, they get fully punished to the fullest extent of the law here, because this is not our arrest, like the scriptures say. I rise you in the park, but this is not your rest. So we have to leave it to the Heavenly Father, for that vengeance. And let's read this real quick. Numbers 35. And I'm going to start at verse 30. It says, whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses, which that officer doesn't need any witnesses. Everybody seen it on film, on the dash cam or on the webcam. All right. So we all are witnesses. It says, but one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die, bearing false witness. Moreover, you shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death. He shall surely be put to death. And you shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he shall come again to dwell in the land until the death of the priest. So you shall not pollute the land wherein you are, and Babylon is fully polluted. Arise you in the part, for this is not your rest, for it is greatly polluted. It will surely destroy you with a sword destruction. That's this wicked place. It says, for and the scriptures say, woe unto you that build a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. So this country was founded on bloodshed. You slaughtered the Native Americans that were here, the Gads, the Gadites and the Reubenites. The Issacharites here on the West Coast. And we know what you did to Judah. All right. It says, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So that's why I said that he has a blood deficit. All right. Where, all that blood that he shed since he came into power, he slaughtered a lot of Israelites and got this land and had us build him a empire, the greatest empire of all empires, and it was built with blood. So that's why this place is going to go out with violence. Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down. All the blood is going to be disclosed. Let me find that. I think that's in Isaiah. Yeah, Isaiah 26:21, it says, "For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." Okay? So that's why when we leave in that chariot, we're going to praise Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And it says in Revelation that, the Lord have avenged her prophets, because a lot of the blood of the prophets, the blood of the saints, were all spilt here, and that's Esau's shame. That's why he's gonna deal with a lot of get back energy when we get him in the kingdom, man. Let me get Obadiah, was it 10? Obadiah verse 10, it says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever." Let me get Ezekiel. Ezekiel 25, starting at verse 12. And let me get it in the NLT. And it says, "This is what the sovereign Lord says. The people of Edom have sinned greatly by avenging themselves against the people of Judah. Therefore, says the sovereign Lord, I will raise my fist of judgment against Edom. I will wipe out his people and animals with the sword. I will make a wasteland of everything from Teman to Dedan. I will accomplish this by the hand of my people Israel. They will carry out my vengeance with anger, and Edom will know that this vengeance is from me. I, the sovereign Lord, have spoken." But we bring this out, according to vocab, we're hateful, we're inciting people to violence. We're doing this and doing that. Meanwhile, he's defending the Zionist regime of what they're doing over in Gaza and what they're attempting to do in Lebanon. He's all right with that. But if we bring this scripture out, all right, which prophesies that all this slaughtering, all this bloodshed that this devil been doing, we're prophesying that he's going to get met with vengeance. All right. Like it says in Revelation, "He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. He that leaveth in captivity shall go into captivity." And this is the patience and the faith of the saints. We're wrong for bringing that out. So that's why all you devils, man, from Amalek to the average regular Edomite, you're going to get it. You ain't going to get it now, obviously, because, we're still in your hands. The Lord tell us to wait for him. Wait ye upon me until I rise up to the prey. So that's all we can really do. Now let's go to Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35 and 1, it says, "Moreover, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, O Mount Seir," that represents Edom, "I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord." And that's merely going to be fulfilled when the missiles hit. All right. The Lord's going to destroy this place, and the whole world is going to rack to and fro. All right. Parts of the other earth where Esau is at, it's going to get hit. And then the ones that's not destroyed, they're going to go right into captivity. So it's going to play right into the Lord's hands when that day comes. And these devils will not be able to escape, none of them. It's just because thou has had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. And that's what you've been doing. You have not stopped, right? In the time of their calamity, in the time that they had in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So their time is coming, man. Too much of this has been going on, for a long. It's been one-sided for the longest. But the Lord is this is a promise, because this is in the Lord's prophecy. The Lord not going to say this and then it's just going to go void. So you devils prepare, man. You know, do what you got to do. Let it all out, because, you know, your kingdom is in its last seconds. Lamentation 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And I want to read that in the NLT. And it says, are you rejoicing in the land of Uz, O people of Edom? But you too must drink from the cup of the Lord's anger. You too will be stripped naked of your drunkenness. O beautiful Jerusalem, your punishment will end. You will soon return from exile. But Edom, your punishment is just beginning. Soon your many sins will be exposed. So hey, just you know, do what you got to do while you still in the last few seconds of your kingdom. All right, you're taking these jakes down, you know, putting them to death. Part of it is the Lord, bringing judgment upon them through the force of the sword, but also you just running up your tab. All right, so do what you got to do, man. But the Lord, remember, he requires that which is past. So when the Lord comes back, he's going to come back with a vengeance. And he said he will not meet you as a man. You know, all these different so-called UAP, UFO reports coming out of the White House now is because they're concerned. They're afraid. It's all nervous energy. You know, you devils are shaking because you know what this represent, and you've been listening. You know the prophets have been warning you about them. We're telling you what they are. And whenever the Lord decides that is that time, they're going to come for you. And we're going to be delivered out of your hands. So, you know, I'm going to end the lesson right there, man. And Lord willing, y'all will edify. I'm going to give all praise to y'all. Bashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.